Well, I guess it's time we talk about High School of the Dead.
This is your path to be. We're all here just for all the fun. Now you're jamming hard, yeah. Hype it up all once again. Try to hype it up. Now you're jamming hard, yeah. Hype it up all once again. Try to hype it up.
Yes, so for those of you who don't actually know, High School of the Dead, or Gakuon, let me speak. Gakuon Moshurikoru HighschoolOfTheDead is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Daisuke Sato and illustrated by Shoji Sato. It was serialized in Fujimi Shobo's monthly Dragon Age between September 2006 and May 2013. But it was left unfinished. It was left unfinished following the death of Daisuke Sato in March 2017 due to ischemic heart disease. Fujimi Shobo and Kodokawa Shoten published 7 tankobon volumes in March 2007 and April 2011 in Japan, whereas Yen Press published the series internationally, including North America and Europe. A 12-episode anime adaptation produced by Studio Madhouse, known for Hellsing Ultimate, Death Note, Overlord, One Punch Man Season 1, Hajime no Ippo, and Death Parade, covering the first 4 volumes, aired in Japan from July 5th to September 20th, 2010, with Madhouse also producing an OVA episode in 2011. Sentai Filmworks, known for Akame ga Kill, Parasite, and Food Wars, produced an English dub of the anime series and the OVA on the DVD and Blu-ray in North America. So, the overall plot of High School of the Dead, set in the present day and beginning as the world is struck by a deadly pandemic that turns the humans into zombies. The story follows a group of high school students, the high school nurse, and a little girl and the dog as they fight their way through Japan to find safety and refuge. So, before we actually go into the spoiler territory, I want you guys to make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notifications bell so you guys won't be disappointed on leaving out anything that, any updates on what we're uploading whatsoever. Feel free to, and also don't forget to go in the description down below where you guys can find me on my Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, the Facebook page, all my other socials that you guys can contact me on if you like to. And then, without further ado, let's just go straight into spoiler territory with High School of the Dead. So the story begins with our main character, Takashi Komuro, brooding over the fact that he gets no bitches, and only for one of his friends, Saya Takagi, to take the absolute piss out of him. All because our boy likes a girl. Turns out she is
fucking your best mate.
Takagi then fucks off to class, whereas Takashi watches as an obvious zombie starts bumping against the gate. So the gym teacher, the big-titted principal, and what I assume is the janitor all go up to the gate and tell the non-zombie to fuck off. The gym teacher then slams the zombie's head against the gate for the zombie to literally just bite the teacher instead, and then he very fucking quickly turns into a zombie. He then gropes the big-titted principal. To be honest, if I was a zombie, I'd probably end up trying to do the same first thing. And they all start ripping each other apart. Takashi then proceeds to sprint to see the girl that he likes, Rei Miyamoto, and his friend Hisashi Igo, or Igo, depending on your pronunciation. But before that, Rei calls Takashi crazy, and then he just slaps her so fucking perfectly. So then the school eventually gets overrun by zombies. Takashi's best friend gets bit by a zombie, and he's like, fuck it. He just gets bit by a zombie, so Takashi caves his head in with a baseball bat, and Rei gets all bitchy at him for doing so, and then Takashi just turns around and is like, fuck it. Guess you don't want me around, so I'll just go feed myself to the zombies. So then Rei just straight up gaslights Takashi because she doesn't want to be left alone, in big fucking air quotes. Meanwhile, Takagi and Hirano are going about trying to survive the absolute massacre of the other students, only for them to find themselves reach the DIY classroom, and Hirano builds a makeshift rifle using a nail gun, wood, and some other bits and pieces. So my dude was basically just straight up planning this shit from the beginning by the sounds of it. Especially from how his reaction goes. This is where we also get to meet two more characters, like Dr. Marikawa, whom has the biggest jiggle physics that will put all the Dead or Alive games to shame, and she's also the school nurse who is tending to an infected student to the best of her ability, but then she has to escape and teams up with Seiko Busujima, who just twats every zombie in her own path with a wooden sword. Takagi then snaps and finally kills a zombie, then breaks down a little bit. So now all our main characters have come together, for now at least, and they'll all come up with an idea to grab the nearest school minibus and take that to the homes of the nearby families to see if they're okay. On the way to the bus with some unnamed survivors, they also have a teacher with them, who very much looks a lot like Nobuyuki Sugo from Sword Art Online. If you guys know the story of SAO, and probably know more of the story, especially of the manga of High School of the Dead, you guys know what I'm on about. Yeah, so you can just tell from this guy's design alone, you can tell that he's just a straight up rapist. Because Rei was very against on having Mr. Shido, the teacher, on the bus. Later, Rei and Takashi have a lover's quarrel, only for them to be separated from the main group and agree to meet up at the nearest police station. So on the way, Takashi and Rei end up finding a motorbike and then take that on their way to meet the others. After a quick sexual assault encounter at the gas station, Takashi and Rei then get closer to meeting at the meeting place. Meanwhile, the other main characters are stuck on the bus listening to Mr. Shido be a bigger cunt than what gynecologists see every day. We also get a bit of backstory of Hirano. So technically, if it weren't for the zombie apocalypse happening, we would have gotten into a very deep end. He would have gone into the deep end and might have actually become a school shooter in Japan, which is really cruelly realistic in terms of actually the actual story of a series like this. So anyway, Shizuka, Hirano, Takagi, and Seiko all get off the bus and we're like, "Hey yo, Shido, you're a cunt, rapist, and a creep." And all the other students are just blind sheep following the rapey goblin, so adios. So all of our main characters reunite and find out that Miss Shizuka's quote-unquote girlfriend has an apartment nearby, so they all go over there, and Takashi almost gets his cock grabbed by Shizuka.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
After going through a few boobalicious scenes that unfortunately the gods of YouTube monetization won't allow me to show, not that I get monetized for this anyway, but you know, fair's fair. So whilst the girls are having a bit of slippery fun, the dude bros that end up opening lockers finding American-style guns along with some ammunition. We then see loads of randos getting nommed on, and later the girls that come outside and Shizuka and Rei start acting like they want to belong in horny jail. Not that I mind you.
It should have been me!
But once almost everyone is asleep, we then see that Lloyd Forger and Anya lookalikes, this is like 7 to 8 years before Spy Family even came out, mind you. This Lloyd wannabe then dies, and Takashi, with Hirano's help, save the Anya wannabe, along with Doge. So this is probably going to probably be a precursor to what Spy Family ended up being. Just set in the apocalypse. The others then come and give a ride in a tank car with Seiko, who thinks it's funny to dress like a MILF porn star. Not that I'm complaining, mind you, again. So now that the little girl is saved, and it turns out her name is actually Alice Mosataro, and the dog name is Zero, or Zeke, depending on the version that you watched. They are now part of the group because obviously every anime, one of the bigger anime tropes in every group of main characters, you need a mascot. The next morning the girls get totally dripped out and don't see any zombies, but they come across a wide fence that get surrounded by a horde of zombies. Takashi then uses Rei's tits as a gun rack, but then we get this scene which just blows the Matrix and Dead or Alive games to shame. After it seeming like the end of our groups then get immediately saved by Takagi's mother. And since Takashi and Seiko fending off zombies with hand-to-hand combat, they all agree to meet at Takagi's mansion as soon as possible. We then get some backstory of Seiko after she and Takagi are trying to spend a bit of quote-unquote quality time. Turns out that she was actually physically assaulted by a grown man one night whilst coming back home from school, so she ended up beating his ass to near death in self-defense. Now I know obviously it is a more commonly used crime in Japan, but still, all I would say is assault in cases like that is very uncomfortable, even for like any guy watching it. Probably it's just as bad. But I digress. I'm just rambling now at this point, really. But yeah, I know it's a very serious issue in Japan because apparently it happens over there more often than you think. So she told the police, but she admits to our MC that she didn't want to stop beating the guy. So the next morning, whilst exiting the shrine, Seiko and Takashi see a shitload of zombies. So Takashi then locks in and gropes Seiko, telling her to give in to her darkness, which gives us this amazing scene.
This is it. This is it. This is me.
Psycho!
Yes!
So, if you're in a tight position, surrounded by zombies with your girl, I guess assault her, I guess, especially if she is really good in hand-to-hand combat. I don't write this shit. Later, we then get to see what Takagi's home is like, and with a few of the other groups of survivors, and everyone is just having a good old vibe. Takashi's mother then is just MILF vibes, and her dad is just a typical hardcore army jockey, but means well. Takashi is then debating whether or not that he leaves the group and does his own thing. But everyone is like, nah, we'll all ride together, we ride and die together. Meanwhile, Mr. Shido, the rapist, and his underage sex cult make their way into the big mansion, and obviously Shido causes shit for just basically existing. And Rei then admits that he's not even worth staining her blade with his stanky ass blood. After some awesome humiliation on Shido, Shido then leaves and takes his underage slaves with him. So then the government / army, they're very non-specific, launch an EMP rocket which makes any and all electrical objects rendered useless. Luckily for plot convenience though, the tank car that our main characters came in is a copper plated, so it's all good. Zombies then force their way into the mansion grounds and start eating everyone. Takagi gets the recognition she wanted from her parents, damn, really wish it was me like that, for real, for real. And then our main group end up getting the fuck out of there. The Takagi parents then turn into Chris Redfield and Ada Wong from the Resident Evil series in the last shot that we actually see them in. After a long night of escaping, our main characters then look at the road ahead and decide to end this road trip with a fucking bang. That is literally where the main season ends, but since there's only 12 episodes of the actual series and I've pretty much summed it up in my own weird little way, I might as well also talk about the OVA series, so obviously, which I mentioned at the beginning of it, and considering the fact it's only one episode as well of the OVA, I might as well just go do a little brief summary of it with the little footage I am allowed to show. So after getting a recap more half-assed than what I've actually been doing through this whole video, it's basically just a fan service episode, and it's the shortest episode too. Basically, the whole group gets on a small remote island in the middle of ass-fuck nowhere, and Hirano shows off his survival skills, and everyone gets high and tries to fuck each other, whereas Takashi's trying to fend off a bunch of horny zombies, and that's literally where the whole fucking series ends. So that was the whole basic summary of the plot and other episodes of High School of the Dead, and I just noticed my cat is fucking with something. Hey, psst. No. No. Stop it. No. You're not allowed to. Go away. So, anyway, let's start talking about the characters. So I'm going to do the same thing what I've been doing in my other previous anime, or I will bring up the characters. This is basically my own like half-assed way of giving a slight summary of what I think of certain characters and my own brief description. But I'm only going to be talking about main characters, considering the fact there is actually no real villain outside of Shido, but you only see him like twice through the whole thing. So there's not really like a whole point in talking about him. So we've got a main character, Takashi Komuro, voiced by Junichi Suabe in the sub version, and by Leraldo Anzaldona, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering the absolute hell out of that. Komuro is pretty much meh as far as main characters go, but he's fine by all means. Not exactly who I would class as a good main character, but it's somewhat suitable for an anime series like this, but then again, there's only so much I can really say about him. Then we've got Rei Miyamoto, voiced by Marina Inoue in the sub version and by Jessica Boone in the dub. Rei is a complete, untotable, unlikable bitch throughout the whole series, throughout the whole manga. Not manga, in the anime. I know in the manga she does get a little bit better and she's less of a bitch throughout it, but I think that's just down to better writing in the manga than the anime, if you ask me. Then we also got Saya Takagi, voiced by Eri Kitamura in the sub version and by Maggie Falcone or Falcone in the dub. Takagi is your typical bitchy kind of character, but she's usually actually handled better here than yet some of the other actual characters come off as an absolute dick. But then when she's introduced, but then she over the course of the whole series, like not just including the manga but the anime as well, she does become more likable as the series goes on and progresses. She has a complete. I know later in the manga, from what little we have, she does end up having an entirely better outlook on everything. So next we've got Kota Hirano, voiced by Nobuki Himeyama in the sub version and by Mark X Lakowski. Hirano is the best character when it comes to the male characters in the show. Hirano just gives off the best laughs, especially in the dub version. Then we got Seiko Busujima, voiced by Miyuki Sawashiro in the sub version and by Taylor Hannah in the dub. She is the best girl in the whole series. Anyone can try and fight me on this whole opinion. Fuck all of you. I don't have to give an absolute reason because this is my video, so ha 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 ha. Next we got Shizuka Mirakawa, voiced by Yukari Fukumi in the sub version and by Monica Ryle in the dub. Shizuka is a fun character, but every single time I hear Monica Rile's voice in the dub, all I can really think about is Tanya from Saga of Tanya the Evil. Alice Mastro or Mastro in the sub, and by Brittany Kabowski in the dub. Alice is just your typical kid mascot character in anime, very much like other characters such as Kid Gohan in Dragon Ball Z and Mokuba in fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! What more can I say? Next, we then have Zeke/Zero, voiced by Hitomi Harada in all versions. He is a good boy. I'm not the best doggo in anime, but I feel like that probably might deserve an entire video on its own. Which does give me an idea. But yeah, so that's all I can really say about High School of the Dead. So if you guys want to check it out, feel free to go online, probably find somewhere streaming it. It's definitely not streamed anywhere. But obviously do what I do. Pick up the Blu-ray or the DVD, I don't give a shit. But no, it is definitely worth checking out. It's one of those few animes where you just want to turn your brain off and just have fun. It hasn't aged the best, I will be honest, but just like High School DxD or Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt or Kill the Kill, it's just a guilty pleasure in my brain. It's just a way for me to have a good time, but it's probably a better experience watching it with a group of friends, very much like watching the dub of Ghost Stories. But overall, I would recommend High School of the Dead regardless. So, there you have it. That's my video on High School of the Dead. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notifications bell so you guys won't be out of date on anything I upload onto the channel. Also, don't forget to go in the description down below where you guys can find me on my Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, all my other my Facebook page, all my other socials and shit that you'll probably end up be able to contact me on. If you want to do like a collab or anything like that at all, or if you want to request a video on something for me to talk about, feel free to. I'm always available and I always respond to my audience as quickly as I possibly can. So, other than that, I've been Bloody Jack. I hope you guys have a lovely day and I will see you all in the next one.